You've probably seen in the news this week that several states have passed very hardline abortion bills, with Alabama passing the most restrictive abortion bill since the era of Roe v. Wade first got started. The states passing these bills have been made for entertaining secular political news, with the typical incoherent screeching being the response from the Moloch worshippers in Hollywood and in the political elite. There's even talk of a sex strike, that is, apparently secular entertainers won't fornicate with pro-lifers until abortion access is guaranteed. That'll show us and our traditional moral values. You know, we don't really expect good or, frankly, reasoned responses from the pro-Moloch side of the argument. At this point, the open harassment, dehumanization, and lack of decency from that crowd has become pretty much the expected standard fare. It's almost boring to contemplate. What was surprising is that some prominent, supposedly pro-life voices have come out and said that banning abortion goes too far. Yes, you heard that right. Apparently you can call yourself pro-life, but still support the legal killing of innocent babies under certain circumstances. For a hardliner like myself, this makes no sense. In my mind, abortion should not only be illegal, but providers should face the severest punishment possible. I mean, we are talking about the killing of babies for birth control here. Today, we're going to go over the response to the bills passed in Alabama, Georgia, and elsewhere, mostly from one person, but that one person is an example of many others who are supposedly on our side of the issue. The lesson learned from this: be wary of the professional pro-lifer, as we shall soon see. G.K. Chesterton once said, "Some of the most civilized and highly organized cultures, like Carthage at its wealthiest, had human sacrifice at its worst. Culture, like science, is no protection against demons." That is as true today as it was 100 years ago when he first said it. Chesterton understood that human sacrifice was on its way back to the cultures of the West, under the guise of freedom and eugenics. While the open eugenics movement died with the closing shots of World War II, we have all become familiar with the tired arguments about abortion, ranging from "my body, my choice" to "ending abortion is an attempt to enslave women." They're not particularly creative arguments, nor are they that persuasive. It's why a new scientific poll was released that some Americans found shocking. According to a new Hill-Harris-X survey, more than half of registered voters believe that laws banning abortion after the 6th week of pregnancy are not too restrictive. The May 10th to 11th poll found that 21% of registered voters said that such abortion bans are too lenient, count me among them, while 34% said they believe they are just right. Now think about that one for a second. At the very least, it shows that it's highly likely that the majority of Americans are with us on banning abortion functionally, speaking before the pregnancy is detectable. Because let's be honest for a moment, before 6 weeks, it's actually pretty hard to determine if someone is pregnant. As the pro-Moloch side of things likes to tell us, 6 weeks is only one missed menstrual cycle, meaning that by the time she realizes that she's pregnant, most likely time has or will shortly be running out before a woman can get an abortion. And this flip of attitude among the population is most likely due to the New York abortion bill that Andrew Cuomo championed. The Alabama bill has caused the Moloch worshippers in particular to lose their minds because it bans abortion with no exceptions. Senator Susan Collins told The Hill she found the bill disturbing because of these features. Quoting that piece directly, quote, "I'm very much opposed to the Alabama law. I think it's completely inconsistent with Roe v. Wade and will lead to a virtual ban on abortions in Alabama, even for victims of incest and rape. And to threaten a physician who performs an abortion with up to 99 years in jail is a very extreme law," Collins told The Hill. Well, count me in with the 21% who think these bills don't go far enough. I'm going to say something provocative here. I don't understand why anyone thinks rape and incest exceptions must be included. We hear this from pro-lifers all the time. Not that Senator Collins is pro-life. She's certainly part of the Moloch wing of the party of usury and war. But many supposed pro-lifers have jumped on this exception to the law, one that in reality is applicable less than 1% of the time, as if one can still call themselves pro-life while being okay with punishing a child for the crimes of its parent. Because that is precisely what we're talking about here. We are executing babies for the crimes of typically the father. In the case of rape, we're not talking about punishing the child for the crimes of the father, while in cases of incest, we're talking about punishing that child in order to protect the parent from shame. It's a monstrous argument designed to carve out exceptions to abortion bans, and where some exceptions exist, others certainly can be added, which is the whole point. Now, you might be thinking, what pro-lifers are saying this? Here's a clip of a high-profile supposed pro-life leader saying just that.
I think Alabama has gone too far. They've passed a law that would give a 99-year prison sentence to people who commit abortion. There's no exception for rape or incest. It's an extreme law, and they want to challenge Roe versus Wade, but my humble view is that this is not the case we want to bring to the Supreme Court, because I think this one will lose.
I am no fan of Pat Robertson or the 700 Club. To put it bluntly, he's an anti-Catholic heretic. He believes in the absolute silliest stuff that Protestants tend to believe in. But in the past, he has said all the right things about abortion, about the need to end the legal killing of children in the U.S. and abroad, how the blood of these children are on all of our hands. What has changed? Either Robertson honestly believes that killing unborn children is okay as long as the father is a monster, as in the case of rape or most cases of incest, or, perhaps worst, being a professional pro-lifer, he sees that at no time in the past almost 50 years has Roe v. Wade been closer to being overturned, and that threatens him professionally. And Robertson isn't the only one saying things like this either. He's just the easiest example to use because the media have jumped on Robertson doing a 180 on the pro-life movement at this critical hour. It's truly remarkable. I'm not a big believer that the Supreme Court is set up at the moment to overturn Roe. Chief Justice Roberts has many observers, including myself, worried that he'll take on the mantle of Kennedy as a great centrist on this issue, and Justice Kavanaugh has already voted on the wrong side of at least one abortion-related issue so far. But the general sentiment is correct. At no time in the past nearly 50 years has Roe been this close to being overturned. And make no mistake, the Alabama bill, if not the Missouri or Georgia bills, will be heard by the Supreme Court. A big abortion fight is coming on Capitol Hill, just in time for an election year. One that could return the issue of abortion access to the states. Many people think that overturning of Roe would lead to a national abortion ban, but frankly that isn't even remotely likely. Roe and the other landmark abortion case, Casey versus Planned Parenthood, all but removed the rights of the state to govern itself on this issue. A defeat of either would restore the rights of the states to govern themselves on the issue of ritual child killing, with the sane states moving to ban the monstrous practice outright, while others will find some excuse to not only keep it legal, but probably to expand abortion until at some point after birth. We've already heard chatter from our elites about expanding abortion until after birth. See my video on Andrew Cuomo for more details. An end to nationally legal abortion would spell trouble for the professional pro-lifer who isn't in the fight against abortion for the right reasons. Frankly, I'm skeptical of most of these activists, although certainly there are some good and honest ones in the service to the side of all that is good, holy, and just. Father Frank Pavone comes to mind as one of the legitimate good guys immediately. But there have been plenty of others, mostly conservative public figures, who have taken to social media to virtue signal to the left about how these bills go too far. Social media virtue signaling is bad enough, but the example of U.S. Senate Republicans beginning to distance themselves from these bills is disturbing. Do you remember when many Americans had pinned their hopes on the GOP working to overturn abortion? Aside from judicial picks made by presidents over the years, what have these lawmakers done to overturn legal abortion in the U.S.? Nothing at all. That may sound harsh, but it's true. There are many faithful Catholics who won't vote Republican because of their cowardice on dealing with abortion, choosing instead to vote for obscure third parties that are pro-Catholic and pro-life. They've been burned too many times by the established supposed pro-life party, and it has done very little on the national level to fight against this evil that has been shielded by the government now for decades, in many cases directly funded by it. See how much money Planned Parenthood gets from taxpayers. Now that the pro-life movement is on the march, so to speak, with a showdown before the Supreme Court almost inevitable, many of these pro-life leaders have shown their true colors. It is a sad thing to behold. If you're going to be pro-life, be pro-life. Fully. Don't carve out exceptions for abortion because of statistical anomalies. And don't buy the arguments from people that say if you're going to be pro-life, you have to embrace the seamless garment and be anti-X, Y, and Z. Those are not issues related to the life argument. Rape and incest cases account for less than 0.1% of abortions in the U.S. The Moloch worshippers know this, but they continue to do it anyway because once you carve out an exception to the abortion rule, you can carve out others until the ban is meaningless. Pro-life Catholics have been praying for years for an end to abortion in the United States. Now that it's almost here, don't get cold feet. Don't let fake pro-lifers shame you into backing down. And above all, keep praying for an end to abortion. Over 60 million children in the U.S. alone are not alive today because of abortion, and that number hangs over all of us. So please keep praying that rosary and keep fasting for an end to abortion. The next big step towards that may be just around the corner with a big showdown coming in the U.S. Supreme Court. For Return to Tradition, I'm Anthony Stine. Viva Cristo Rey.